Hello everyone, welcome back to Study Room. In this video, we will be studying about water, that is one of the main natural resources that we get, and it's very essential for life, right? So let us see. In this video, we can see that water is a very important resource, especially fresh water. Water everywhere, but not a drop of water to drink. The rhyme of the ancient mariner, which was written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he says that water everywhere, but not a drop of water to drink. The verses relate the experiences of a sailor returned from a long sea journey. During his voyage, the ship he is on is becalmed in uncharted waters near the equator. Those aboard are tormented to death by thirst. At the same time, the ship itself is floating in the solution to the crew's problems. So, thirst, they died and they were tormented to death by thirst, and that is how we need to understand that fresh water is a very important natural resource which we get from nature, because our body is mainly made up of water. The 70% of our body is made up of water. So that is why water is one of the most essential elements to sustain life on this planet. Now, water as the most essential resource, as we discussed just now, water is a basic necessity for all terrestrial forms of life, right? And water, how do we get water? Water we get through rains, right? And rains happen in a limited period of time in India, especially. Rains in India are largely due to the monsoons. This means that most of the rainfalls happens in the few months of the year, and when this rainfall happens, at that time there is plenty of water. But when the summer approaches and we have so much of dry weather, at that time we face water scarcity. Despite nature's monsoon bounty, failure to sustain water availability underground has resulted largely due to three main reasons. And what are those reasons? The first reason is loss of vegetation cover. The second reason is diversion for high water demanding crops. And the third reason is pollution from industrial effluents and urban needs. So these are mainly the three reasons due to which the availability of groundwater is decreasing day by day in spite of the monsoons that happen. Okay, so this is why we need to devise plans that will make underground water available to all, and for agricultural purposes as well as for the daily needs. Irrigation methods like dams, tanks and canals have been used in various parts of India since ancient times. Okay, so these were generally local interventions managed by local people and assured that the basic minimum requirements for both agriculture and daily needs were met throughout the year. So this is how they tried and they managed methods like dams, tanks and canals to cope up with the water scarcity that happens during the dry seasons. Now, did you know that there are certain traditional irrigation methods like pools that is practiced in Himachal Pradesh? In parts of Himachal Pradesh, there is a local system of canal irrigation called pools. Over 400 years ago, which was practiced since over 400 years ago, right? And the water flowing in the streams was diverted into man-made channels which took this water to numerous villages downside the hills. Now, did you know that there is this local system of canal irrigation called pools in different parts of Himachal Pradesh? Okay, and they have been practicing, the local people have been practicing this canal irrigation system since 400 years, right? So this is a very old system. In this, the water flowing in the streams was diverted into man-made canals which took this water to numerous villages down the hillside. The management of the water flowing in these pools was by common arrangement and agreement among all the villages. So, what happens is this river water, they make small canals, and these canals take water to numerous villages down the hillside. So this practice, this practice has been very prevalent in different parts of Himachal Pradesh, and it is known as schools. Okay. Now you can see these are different dams, dams which help, which are built on different rivers, big rivers, and they help in the storage of water, and also they regulate the flow of water in the river. So let us see what dams actually are. Okay. So large dams ensure the storage of adequate water that can be used for irrigation and generating electricity. Okay. So these dams actually store water, a large amount of water, and that water helps in irrigation, and also the flow of water helps in the generation of electricity, right? So hydroelectric power is generated here, and canal systems leading from the dams can transfer large amount of water over great distances. Okay, so these dams actually, when canals are built over these dams, so these canals can take water to great distances, right? And the water can be reached to different villages and far and wide areas, right? So there's this very famous example of Indira Gandhi Canal, which has brought greenery to considerable areas of Rajasthan. As we all know, this Rajasthan is it is a very dry area, right? Like there is no rainfall, and there is not much rainfall actually, and the area is very desert-like area, right? So this great canal, this Indira Gandhi Canal, has brought greenery because it provided water to many areas of Rajasthan, and that is why the greenery was spread there. So this is a very good example, and you will be asked like which is a great canal, which is a very good canal present in Rajasthan, name it. So yeah, this is Indira Gandhi Canal, right? So this poses a problem for the farmers who are far away from the source of water and displaced by the building of dams and canals. People close to the source grow water-intensive crops like sugarcane and rice, while people farther downstream do not get any water. So this is how the dams are a bit of problematic to many people who get displaced, or the people who live very far or downstream. Okay, they do not get water in adequate amount. So let us see what are the problems associated with dams. So the first problem that is associated with dams is the social problem. They displaced large amounts of peasants and tribals without adequate compensation or rehabilitation. So for the building of large dams, for their construction, a large amount of area is needed. So a large number of peasants and tribals are displaced from those areas without adequate compensation. They're not given adequate compensation or rehabilitation, and those people are displaced from their original land. So the people who are being displaced by various development projects are largely poor tribals who do not get any benefits from these projects and are alienated from their lands and forests without adequate compensation. Okay, so these people are very poor and they do not get adequate compensation also. The outstays of the Tawa Dam built in the 1970s are still fighting for the benefits they were promised. So there's this Tawa Dam which was built in the 1970s, right? And those people who were displaced during the construction of that dam are still fighting today for their compensation. So you can understand that how major a problem it is to, for the people who are getting displaced while the construction of the dams. The second problem that we face is the economic problem. Okay, so the construction of these dams actually swallow up a huge amount of public money. Okay, so they need a lot of money from the government, and the benefits that are generated from the dam project is not as much as compared to the money that is spent on the construction of the dam. So that is why this is a very big economic problem also, because the dam actually is, the construction of that dam is a loss for the government, because a lot of money is being spent, but the benefits that we are getting is very less. The third problem that we face is environmental problem. Okay, so they contribute enormously to deforestation and loss of biodiversity. So these dams actually since they are built over a large area and they cover up a large area, so they destroy the forest. Many of the forest areas are cut down to build these dams. Okay, and a large amount of biodiversity is also lost for these dams. So you might have heard that there are many protests that are going on, or when there were construction of many dams. During their construction, there were many protests which said that you cannot build a dam because there will be biodiversity loss, or there will be forest cover loss and deforestation. So these are the very important environmental problems that we face while building a dam. The next topic that we have is water harvesting. Okay, so what is water harvesting? Water harvesting is basically managing the rainwater and storing it in a place or in a storage system, and then reusing it for the daily use, right? So you can see how this water is harvested, and they are used in different ways to manage the water, right? So you can see here we also have a topic called as watershed management. Okay, so what is watershed management? Watershed management actually emphasizes on scientific soil and water conservation in order to increase the biomass production, right? So this is basically scientific soil and water conservation, and it is known as watershed management. And you will be given a definition. You will ask what is watershed management. Okay, the aim is to develop primary resources of land and water to produce secondary resources of plants and animals for use in manner which will not cause ecological imbalance, right? So basically this is a management of land and water resources to produce secondary resources like plants and animals, and for their use in such a manner that it won't cause ecological harm or ecological imbalance, right? So watershed management not only increases the production and income of the watershed community, but also mitigates droughts and floods and increases the life of the downstream dam and reservoirs. So these watershed management is actually the managing of land and water, making it compliable to all the people living in that community, right? So all the things that are in that community, and managing that water and land well. So this is basically the scientific approach that we are taking for watershed management, right? Now here you can see that how the rainwater is being managed, and there is underground sources, and then this rainwater is flowing, and there are these tributaries built in which the water can go, and they can actually go down to the underground, and this is how the water is managed. The rainwater is properly managed so that it doesn't get accumulated at one place, or it doesn't flow down directly. Okay, so that this whole area is actually getting the benefit of the water that is there. So this is basically reaching the water to the different areas and communities to take the advantage of this flowing water. So this is how they're managing the water in this place. So watershed management is basically, this is how preventing droughts and floods, as well as production and income of the watershed community, and it is advantageous to the people living here, and it is also advantageous to the environment here. So this is advantageous to all, and that is how you can manage the water, the flowing rainwater to your own use. Now water harvesting. Water harvesting has been used as an alternative to the mega projects like dams. So we already discussed about water harvesting in the diagram that we had before, that we are storing rainwater and then we are using it later for our own use. So communities have used indigenous water saving methods to capture even every trickle of water that had fallen on their land, dug small pits and lakes, put in simple watershed systems, built small earthen dams, set up rooftop water collecting units. So this is basically collection of rainwater and then using it for future use, like for future purposes, like collecting the water during the rainy season, and then you can use it in the dry seasons, in the summer seasons, etc. So this is how these are an alternative to the mega projects like dams. and this has recharged groundwater levels and even brought rivers back to life. So this water harvesting has been very, very instrumental in doing these changes and like recharging the groundwater levels and also bringing back rivers to life, right? So there were many traditional water harvesting systems that we have been practicing since years, right? So some of the examples are khadis, tanks and nadis in Rajasthan, bhandaras and tals in Maharashtra, bundis in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, ahars and pines in Bihar, pools in Himachal Pradesh, ponds in Kandi belt of Jammu region, eris or tanks in Tamil Nadu, and surangams in Kerala and kattas in Karnataka. So these are the different kinds of traditional water harvesting system that are being practiced in different areas of India, and these are actually being practiced since years, and they are very ancient. So you can understand that how the people of that era also understood the importance of water, and they tried to save water and use it for future purposes, and that is how they built all these traditional water harvesting systems, right? Some of the ancient water harvesting systems, including water conveyance structures, still in use today. So these things are like these kind of ahars, bundis, pools, as we studied, ponds, all these are used in today, like they are also used today, and these are like traditional water harvesting systems that have been using, like the people have been using it since years, since centuries, right? So these are very, very popular these days too. The next, you can see here in the picture that how a khadin or a cropped area is there and catchment area is there, and it is getting water, and this is a shallow dug well that I have dug, and hence like this area is getting underground water, so that this crop can grow better, right? So this is how water harvesting system they are building, and this is one of the traditional type of water harvesting system that we saw, and this is a khadin, right? This is a khadin that we saw. The next is benefits of water harvesting. So what are the benefits of water harvesting? So giving the people, the water harvesting actually gives the people control over the local water resources, ensures that mismanagement and over-exploitation of resources is reduced or removed. Monsoon rains fill ponds behind the structures. Their main purpose is not to hold surface water, but to recharge the groundwater beneath, right? So these are the very, very important benefits that we face of water harvesting systems. They actually help us to manage and not exploit the water resources that we have in the local level. And also the monsoon, it actually helps us to recharge the groundwater level in our locality, and helps us to reuse the monsoon waters, right? So water harvesting techniques are highly local specific, and the benefits are also localized, since we studied so many water harvesting systems, traditional water harvesting systems that are practiced in India still now. The next are the advantages of groundwater. So what are the advantages of ground? Why are we doing this? Like, we studied that a water harvesting system actually recharges the groundwater and helps us to, replenish the groundwater level. So why are we giving so much importance to groundwater? So we need to understand the advantages of groundwater, right? So groundwater does not evaporate but spreads out to recharge wells and provides moisture for vegetation, right? And it does not provide breeding sites for mosquitoes because it is inside ground, and it is unlike the stagnant water that is collected in ponds or in artificial storages. The groundwater is protected from contamination by human and animal waste. Okay, so this groundwater is also protected from contamination. These are not breeding sites for mosquitoes, and this help in recharging the wells and providing moisture for vegetation. So these are the three major advantages of groundwater. Now we'll be discussing the in-text question. The first question that we have is find out about the traditional systems of water harvesting or management in your region, right? So the water harvesting systems that we have in a region, you can find the water harvesting system in the region that you live, Many of us live in cities where water is supplied by the municipal authorities. In the houses, systems of rainwater harvesting are installed which collect the water running off and channel it into a special pit created for the purpose. This helps to reach. Now let us discuss the in-text question. The first question that we have is, find out about the traditional systems of water harvesting or management in your region. So since many of us live in cities, right? So where water is supplied by the municipal authorities. In the houses, systems of rainwater harvesting are installed which collect the water running off and channel it into special pit created for the purpose. This helps to recharge groundwater. Okay, and efforts are being made to collect runoff rainwater in soak pits. This water enriches underground water and can cause rise in water table. Okay, so runoff water from rooftops can also be collected in trenches, specially made to enrich underground water table. So basically in cities and towns where we have water harvesting systems installed in the houses, so they actually collect the rainwater and they help to replenish the underground water level, right? Also, we have the second question, that is, compare the above system with the probable systems in hilly or mountainous areas or plains or plateau regions. So, the system that we have, drinking water system in hilly areas. Okay, so pools were a traditional irrigation system in hilly areas such as Himachal Pradesh. In this system, the water flowing through the falls comes to villages located at lower regions through small human-made drains. So here they are utilizing the falls, the waterfalls, and hence they are facilitating water to the lower regions or the villages that are located in the lower regions through small human drains. Okay. In Meghalaya, the water is brought down to the lower areas of the hill through bamboo drains. So here they are using the bamboo drains to bring down water to lower areas, villages in the lower areas. In plains, we have the systems like jhalaras, were made in Rajasthan and Gujarat, essentially meant for the community use and for religious rites. In some places, bawaris, etc., were made to supply water. So these are the systems that are present in plains. And in plateau regions, we have bhandaras that are check dams or diversions which were built across rivers. Such a traditional system was found in Maharashtra. In some regions, small pits were dug to collect water. So these are the systems that are used in plateau regions, right? So compared to the above system, we had several systems that we saw in the hilly, mountainous areas or plateau or plains respectively, and that is how they differ from places to places. But this concept that they have is that utilizing the rainwater for future purposes. The third question that we have is, find out the source of water in your region or locality. Is water from this source available to you, to all the people living in that area? So you have to find out the source of water in your region or locality, and then you have to understand and find out whether this water is available to all the people living in that area or not. So the main source of water in our region, that is Delhi, is river Yamuna, Upper Ganga Canal, Bhakra storage and groundwater. So these are the main sources of water in Delhi, and water after being treated is supplied to the residents through a system of water pipes. The water is available to all the people living in the area. The students, all those who are listening to this video and watching this video, you can find out the source of water in your respective area or locality, and then you can see whether that water source is available to all the people or not. Thank you so much for this video. This much only. Thank you so much.